Man, welcome back to great area, man. I'm sorry for the wait. I had to get my business in order. Hope no one caught any hard feelings. I'm glad you all were patient with me, man. It's been a long few weeks between the end of November and the beginning of December. But yeah, I won't keep you waiting any longer. You know the title of this video is Nature versus Nation. And at the end of this video, I'm putting up the complete story of my ukulele. So here we are. Let's hop into it. So what is reality composed of, man? From my perspective. What it's composed of, from my perspective, is one thing and one thing only, and that's ideas. And everyone, and each and every individual has an idea about themselves. So, what do I mean by that? So, reality is what a person thinks of themselves playing out in the physical reality of the three dimensions as you see me in on this video, where space and matter becomes physical, the third dimension. I don't have to explain that. That's simple. So the thoughts of someone's head, the ideals, playing out through the emotions of someone into the physical of what they view themselves as in this ideal space and location and time. That's what reality is composed of. Now, what's special about this is we can change that. But before I get into that, let's just go ahead and hop into my second question. Question number two is, what does it mean to be in a nation? So, in reality, in the ideas of a person, they play out from the mind of that person, right? So, those ideas comes from that person's imagination. I, imagination. I means it comes from the realm of the gods, or what we would call the Elohim, or the creative force, or source energy. So this is where we get our individualization from, is playing that out in this space, in each space and location as an individual. Now the thing about an eye magic, because all of this is all about perception. You know, even the elite rulers use magic to rule over you, whether you realize it or not. But I magic nation. So each person, each individual has a nation, an imagination, and they all want to see that play out as their own rulership in this idea, an ideal of themselves. So to be in an imagination of someone means to be a thought form of that person's imagination. So basically, you become a slave to this person's reality. Stick with me. I know I'm getting a little deep. Now, so most people are probably going to be looking at this like, what is he talking about? But stick with me. For people who are going to stick with me. So, if I have an idea, right? Say I wanted some chocolate from the store, simple. Instead, I didn't want to drive, but I still wanted the chocolate from the store. So I would call somebody, was like, hey, can you bring me some chocolate from the store? So this is my idea playing out in my reality for me to have chocolate. If that person agrees with me, then they become a slave to my reality. Not necessarily meaning it could be not always a bad thing, but the majority of the times in where we live in, being a slave to reality is definitely a bad thing in today's time, because people don't treat realities with the respect that they need to in order to have a cohesive universe. So this goes back to my original first question: what is reality composed of? So each individual has a parallel universe that they are already in. Basically, that this universe is composed of infinite amount of parallel universes, and an idea is just one parallel universe that that person is perceiving. That there's a bunch of ideas of a person, right? Like there's an idea of me being a basketball player. Like there's another idea of me being a ukulele player. There's another idea of me making beats all day. Like I have multiple parallel universes of myself that comprise of who I am. So that's what I mean. So the problem with the current realities that we all share as people that we live in that we call the world is the manifestation of worldly things has caused people to get stuck on that level of someone else's imagination. People don't realize that they're not using their own individual imagination to bring about their own personal, you know, qualities or different qualities of themselves that they would not know if they did not try to release themselves of the world and use all their energy that they use in the world on themselves to actually peer into their own ideas of themselves, whether they know they're capable of it or not. Each idea is definitely capable of obtaining through a process called quantum jumping. Now, what is quantum jumping? Quantum jumping is the ability for us to go from think on it. It's the ability for us to think on one of these parallel universes and to manifest it according to bringing in the best qualities into getting to that position and into that parallel universe. So this leads me into my next question is my imagination real? And how do I take back control of it? To answer the question number one of this, part one of this question, of course, we sitting here talking about how your own ideas come from your imagination and they play out in this physical reality. So, of course, your own imagination can become real if you actually utilize the powers behind it. Alright, so in utilizing it, what do I mean? This is going into the second part of this question, and that is, how do I take back control of this? So I'm going to break it down where it's simple for everyone. So in the 3D world, you have your physical body. That's what you see, senses, taste, etc. Physical qualities, right? And then in time, you have the emotional body. And this is where the phrase, where time heals all wounds, because these are where your emotions get entangled in time. And if you have to, let's continue on before I get into that. So beyond the emotional body, you have the spiritual body. And this exists beyond time. This is where the mind exists, really. This is where the all exists. So we're going to go with where the mind actually exists, 5B plus. So this is the 3 parts. So where do I want to begin? So if you want to take back control of your reality, and if you don't like the ideal and the space that you're in, or the TV show that you're basically watching in your physical reality, you can literally quantum jump. Now, quantum jumping is detaching yourself from your emotional body and healing that over time. And while you're healing that, you're manifesting your next ideal of yourself using your imagination. So as you're healing from one aspect of yourself, you're creating a new aspect of yourself. This is where the destruction and creation process comes in, the birth of a new cycle of yourself. So you have to detach yourself emotionally and then reattach yourself into an emotional imagination or idea of yourself to create that quantum leap, that quantum jump So this is how you take back control of your reality. An aspect of when you do this, the greater qualities of yourself become attractive to you, because now that you have those empty spaces within your life, those have to be filled with new qualities that your spiritual body needs to grow in order to become the best version of yourself within each parallel universe. You continue to do this as you develop your spiritual body, because your spiritual body wants to take up as much space as possible. Basically, it wants to know all of its qualities within you so it can express itself fully. Just like for me, for instance, like I love to play the ukulele. Everyone knows that now. I have a ukulele. Another thing is I have my own equipment where I play the piano, so I actually make beats. Another quality of me is I love the weather and I love to chase tornadoes. I have multiple qualities of myself where I can actually go out and do those things freely now, because I finally reached a space and location where I have the freedom to do those things. So I hope that clears up how you take back control. You have to emotionally detach from these things. Could be person, place, or thing. Could be any of these things that you actually see in your reality currently that is not bringing you the harmony that you want or your ideal of yourself. It could be anybody, family, friends. I hate to say this, but this is the truth of reality. It's not necessarily being mean to them, it's just distancing yourself from them in a natural way. This is where I'm going to get to my fourth question. The distancing yourself in a natural way by using your imagination first, because you don't want to hurt somebody any more than you already are probably going to in this natural process of destroying a reality and recreating. So you want to minimize the damage in doing this. So yes, so you have to learn to minimize your emotional detachment by allowing the death process of a physical reality to go smoother, so you can become the greater version of yourself. So now this leads me into a question. So question number 4 is, what does nature have to do with this? Nature has everything to do with all of these parallel universes, meaning that nature itself is the multiverse that contains all of these parallel universes that we use to quantum jump into. Or we basically saying we're going from one idea to the next to fulfill the happiness in us. So nature naturally wants to see each individual in abundance, because each one of us came into this world abundantly. Like each one of us naturally has abundance in this place, because there are all infinite possibilities of each and every individual. Now the only thing that's different between you and the next person is how much you are tapped into your own abundance, basically, because your abundance will bring forth all of the monetary needs and all of your love life needs, etc. But it will do it all in the right way, because this is actually how God intended these things for you. Yahweh intended these things for you, the Most High. So when I say God, for me, I know who I'm talking about when I say God. I'm talking about the Most High, where source energy comes from. This is the actual Elohim that did all of these things first that I'm talking about, for us to actually have the freedom that we were born into. He was, or she was the first being that actually did these things. So we know to follow the same path after this being that did these things. This is the way that the Most High works, by creating these parallel realities and basically gathering all this information so it can have the greatest experience of this soul, and so we can know it's all of its qualities in every aspect of just learning the experience in this life. You see what I'm saying? It's a really complex. I want to try to keep it simple, but it's a really a complex problem. But simply, this is pretty much all I would want to talk about. Like, nature itself is the driving force behind creativity. Like, we are creative force from the ultimate creator, and the ultimate creator gives those creative freedoms to individuals who actually finally submitted to the spiritual nature or the light body within the individual. Most people don't know that we were born into darkness. And with darkness, you can't really peer into each individual aspect of yourself, but you have to accept the commandment and accept that you are a part of the Most High. And once you actually do this and actually accept that body, you will know exactly what I'm talking about going from one reality to the next. It takes a lot of meditation in creating new realities and manifesting those new realities. Detaching emotionally in each circumstance to get each reality is something that we all as humans are very much capable of, but we all also are attached to these things that we so-called love. But we actually don't love these objects, persons, places, things in the way that we think we love them, because we really don't know ourselves. To know yourself is actually to fulfill all of these qualities of yourself. So when you do that, you know how you actually love these people the right way. And whether it could be at any distance. When I mean distance, it could be like, say if in one reality, I used to see a friend every day, right? So in me kicking that loop out of my reality, I see this friend every 3 days now. So that's me distancing myself so I can have that space to myself, so I can continue to evolve these qualities within myself, or my ideals of myself. So yeah, this is what I mean by nature has everything to do with it. Now, what is nature versus nation? This is what I mean by, if nature has a system of actually trying to better you and make you a happier individual in experiencing all these different aspects of life and in these different universes. That imagination of somebody else's system that you are being a part of, that you're being a slave to, and not being a slave to your own imagination, which is being a slave and actually helping yourself build a better version of your own self instead of being a slave to someone else's imagination. This is what it means by being in someone's nation. You have to come out of someone else's imagination and start to produce your own imagination, so you can actually have better qualities for yourself, so you can actually start producing things in the world that will bring you about all the needs and wants that you have, these ideals of yourself. Say you have an idea of yourself with a stable house, stable job, right? That's actually that you would love, and you know what I'm saying, not just a regular everyday money job. It's something that you actually fits your personality. To obtain that, you have to again, for the last time, I'm closing this video out, we're gonna hop into ukulele. Detach emotionally from one reality, whether it be person, place, or thing, and then meditate and allow the time to pass so you can manifest the next reality and quantum jumping for yourself. So yeah, man, I appreciate everyone being patient with me, finally getting this video together. Man, it's been a long time, but I'm going ahead and hop into why I even bought the ukulele, as I peer into one of my own parallel universes of myself. Stay tuned, everyone. Peace. Shalom. So yeah, man, what's the story behind my ukulele? So why did I even want my ukulele to begin with? Well, like in my previous video I put on YouTube, I explained how I have to have something for me to balance myself in all the dimensions and realities I feel myself, because we are multi-dimensional creatures. So one day, like in January of this year, I was like I need an instrument that's gonna cost me something relatively cheap. Like this was like $80, you know. Like on Amazon it was like $80. So I only had like $100 on me at the time, so I purchased it on Amazon. So it said in the shipping it was gonna take about a week to get here, and I think they had messed the shipping up because it was supposed to go to my address, and they ended up shipping it like across the street in the wrong complex, and they had to reship it to me because the package ended up getting lost. Of course, right? Somebody probably took it, you know. But the weird thing was I didn't pay for like the shipping and handling because I think I'm an Amazon Prime member. Yeah, I am. I didn't pay for the shipping and handling at the time, and they ended up refunding me the total cost of the ukulele, plus for some reason like $13 on the shipping and handling. So I got it for free plus $13.